Gardi, and I'd like to lead off by concurring with Dan Dombrowski. He is qualified to serve on the Mosquito Control Board, and he's a man of exceptional character, and if I was a Democrat, I would be checking Dan Dombrowski for mosquito control. I just want to say that. He is qualified. I wish there were more candidates like Dan Dombrowski out there. And he is one of the only ones that accepted my Lean and Green pledge and isn't using the street signs out there that you see scattered all over the county. The man of character. But I am a Republican. I'm running against Morgan McPherson for state representative to take on this fine gentleman, Ron Saunders. I am the Information Systems Director at the Office of the State Attorney. And I've got in this race because I think the state's in a severe fiscal crisis that we need to address with some serious ideas, which you can find on my website at mattgardi.com, and hopefully we'll have some time to discuss that this evening.
Good evening, I'm Ron Saunders. I have the honor to currently represent you in the Florida House. I want to thank Gene Finnegan for hosting us, and also thank you all because you lasted the whole night here, and I'm impressed. Mosquito Control, School Board, County Commission, Judge, and now us. I mainly came here tonight because I'm not on the ballot until November to participate in this. Mike Mongo invited me on Facebook today, so I wanted to make sure I came. And just tell you that it's an interesting race. I'm watching the August primary very closely, and I look forward to whoever my opponent is and finding out what they plan to do in Tallahassee. So I'll hold off on since you have such good questions, I think I'll just wait for the question.
The first question is, with the baby boomers now retiring, there is about to be, for the first time, more retirement benefits being paid out of the state coffers than money coming in. What is your proposal to fund this shortfall?
This year, the legislature actually had a proposal to cut retirement benefits for teachers, firefighters, and policemen. And I voted against that. Because I think when you've worked all your life in public service, public servants out here, yeah, it's a promise. You know, we've made certain promises to you that when you retire, you're going to get certain benefits. And I think it's wrong for the legislature to come back after you put those years of service in and pull the rug from you. Whatever you've been promised, those promises should be kept. Whatever it takes to get that pension fund to have all those benefits paid, we should do it. One thing is having better control over the pension fund. They made some very bad investments out of state, for example. I think we have a better control in the pension fund. But if you've been made a promise, that promise should be kept.
I concur with Ron about keeping that promise. One of the problems we have is that we have the unfunded pension liabilities, and they're growing every day, and it's only going to get worse. And that's why we have to seriously address the state budget, which I've called for cutting the state budget by 25%. But people say that's extreme. But we have to do that so that we can afford to give those people the promises we've made. I've also called for capping state salaries at $100,000. Now, we can't do anything about those people that have already served us and have accumulated the benefits that they're due, but we can start to control those salaries that are on the absurd top side of our state budget and start cutting them back to $100,000 so some of those pension liabilities in the future won't be as great. We need to consolidate from the top, and we need to address the state budget by consolidating the numerous state agencies that are out there. And I'm not talking about cutting the base level employee. We need to look at the administrative bureaucracy that exists in every one of our state agencies. What we see on a local level here, whether it be mosquito control, whether it be the school system, whether it be the BCLT, the land trust, whether we think it's the dog pound, you see all this fraud, waste, and abuse, and in many cases it's beyond that. It's crazy. It's exponential at the state level in these state agencies. We have to do something about it. 25% off the state budget is not unrealistic.
The next question is, if Governor Chris' ban on offshore drilling actually comes to a vote, will you vote to support the ban if you are elected?
Well, that's probably an old question you asked several weeks ago, because as you know, the governor did call a special session, and the Republican leadership decided after 49 minutes that we weren't going to do anything. I supported putting it on the ballot. Had it been on the ballot, I'd have voted for it because we need it in the Constitution. The legislature just last year in the House voted to allow offshore drilling within 3 miles of our coastline. And that was before the spill off of Louisiana. So we already know the danger of offshore drilling, and I think it needs to be in the state Constitution. I'm very disappointed in the legislature for not giving you, the voters, the right to decide that question.
This is a multifaceted question. First of all, in the special session, I would have supported to put it on the ballot and allow the people the chance to vote. I would have, though, opposed that, and for a number of reasons. First of all, I do not believe our state constitution should be used as a tool that really is required more in a legislative process. And towards that example, you can look at exactly what happened. It was political gamesmanship because the oil issue was a hot button issue. And what happened was, it was all politics at the expense of the taxpayer, about $50 million to call that special session and go up there for 46 minutes. However, if you go to my website, you will learn that I do have solutions for some of this, and some of it is decentralizing the state legislature to stop some of these gimmicks and political gamesmanship. And by that I mean making sure that the state legislators work in their home district versus going to Tallahassee and being corralled and controlled by special interests. We would have avoided this special session. We would have been able to give the people a chance to vote on that issue, and it's a great idea, and I want you to go to my website and check out more ideas like that. Thank you.
What is your position on medical marijuana being legalized?
I support it.
Yeah!
I support it as well. You know, see, I still have a minute left of that. I think you're going to find that Ron and I agree on a lot of issues. He's fiscally conservative, socially liberal. I would say I'm pretty similar to that. I come originally from Vermont. As a Republican, you're really more central than the rest of the nation. Where we might differ is the fact, and again, I'm running against Morgan McPherson. I must remind you, August 24th, but if I do have the opportunity to go against Representative Saunders, he has done a great job. There's no question he's done a great job. He's a man of character, and I think he's got the best interest of the district at heart when he works up there. But unfortunately, he is a member of the minority party. His effectiveness is not necessarily going to be as great as if you can have someone as a Republican change the Republican leadership, change the Republican Party, and be an outspoken voice about what's good with the Republicans do, and point out what's bad, and change the system for the better.
The last question is, what is your position on gay adoption in the state of Florida?
I was a co-sponsor of the bill that would permit gay adoption. I support gay adoption.
I support gay adoption as well.
Now we have a 1-minute wrap-up.
Again, thanks everybody for showing up, and again, I am running August 24th against Morgan McPherson, and you may have read some things in the paper about the difference between us. The difference between us is Morgan, and I don't, it's tough to discuss him while he's not here, but 96% of his campaign financing has come from Tallahassee. It's also come from the Florida Republican Party, which I think is a travesty, because I think Republicans in this district should decide who their candidate is. And I stood up to the Republican Party on that. That doesn't mean I am non-Republican. I believe in the values of self-reliance, pro-business, job growth, cutting taxes, cutting spending. These are ideas, and one of the reasons I ran, because I did not feel Mr. McPherson was going to be able to articulate those points to the voters. So when we go out to the public, Ron Saunders and I, and people listen and say, what's a Republican and what's a Democrat, I want them to know what I stand for, not what Mr. McPherson stands for, which is special interests and backroom deals. Please vote for me. My name is Matt Gardi, August 24th. Thank you very much.
It has been a pleasure getting to know Matt and Lisa and his supporters, because I do think he stands for getting out there and letting the voters have a choice. I do agree with him. I think it's wrong when a state party gets involved in a primary and spends hundreds of thousands of dollars to influence voters. It's up to you, the voters, and an outside interest, lobbyists or whoever in Tallahassee should not make that decision for you. So I admire Matt for throwing his hat in the ring and for getting out here. And I was interested in hearing the bold new plan for our other opponent, but we still at least we know how to spell it, and we'll have some fun on the campaign trail. Let me just give my last 30 seconds to say that Tallahassee, I agree with Matt, we're in a tough situation up there. The state budget is in a deficit. You need somebody in Tallahassee to go up there and fight for you with the experience that I have. I look forward to seeing you more on the campaign trail and going back to Tallahassee and fighting for you. Thank you.
Don't go away. We have one more question. What would be your position on Arizona-style immigration legislation?
I had some problems with that. From what we haven't really looked at that law because we didn't even take it up in session. I have some concerns with the political motivation of it coming out after session. It to me, it just seems like something that they want to use in political ads. I've seen Rick Scott and Bill McCullum go back and forth. It's being used as a football. I think it's wrong. What I do know about the Arizona law, I'm very concerned about because of racial profiling. So somebody have you pulled over and ask for your papers just because of the way you look, I think is wrong. And so even though I think immigration is a problem, it's a federal problem. The federal government needs to do a better job of controlling our borders. If state law needs to be changed, I'm certainly willing to look at it. But I've not seen anything yet from Arizona that I like because I think it's too much of a potential for racial profiling, and I think it has a lot of problems with the Arizona law. If we're going to take it up, let's take it up at the right time, which is the next regular session, and give it the consideration it needs. But right now, I couldn't support it.
Ron brought up a good point there. There's a lot of political gamesmanship, and it's not just with this issue. And if you look at the timing, just like the Governor Chris putting the amendment for the oil on the ballot, it's all about politics frequently. But to that issue, as a grandchild of Italian immigrants, I'm all for immigration. I think we should support legal immigration, and we should open up the doors as much as possible. That's what this country is made of, is immigrants. We've done a great job allowing legal immigration. We need to open the door a little bit more. But we have to seal the border seriously, and that is something that has to be done at the federal level. And they have to take that into account. We have to take those people that are here illegally, guess what? They are here illegally. We have to make sure that they know that and they're deported, and encourage legal immigration while increasing it. Thank you.
Question.